Namaste, sir.
Tell me.
Sir, I thought everybody must have joined by now.
It's at 4, no? 3:52 only. Yeah, tell me.
Nothing, sir, nothing much to tell.
See, when I come, you don't want to ask anything. Ask.
Sir,
Poetry book is with me.
okay.
Which
But
poem?
Sir, that doesn't. Hello?
Which poem?
Sir, I really like lot of poems, especially. Okay, let me. Okay, wait. I like the Passion After Pension.
Which is the number?
Number 75.
Yeah. See, most of my passion which I had in my life, that probably most of the people in the world will not be able to get sufficient time for what they want to do in their life, because they are after a profession, then setting up. So I'm sure everybody has this. It is not me alone. Because you need a permanent income, you need to bring up. You can come on video, whoever is that. Srinivas is also there. K. Srinivas Rao. So that is what the poetry says. Which line you liked it in that?
Sir, I like the poem as a whole. I will read some lines.
Yeah, some lines. Yeah. See, one of the passion which probably everybody has. If you are away from your home, if you are not away from home, people get bored with their own. I took birth here, I am going to die here, I have not seen another part of the world. That will be the feeling people will have. But I am sure when somebody goes around the whole world, I must have seen all part of the world now. Pacific Ocean, Indian Ocean, starting, ending, Fiji to America to Europe, only Australia I have not seen so far. Rest of
crossed all the 7 oceans.
yeah. So okay. See, that passion is over, and living outside Kerala for long years, it's always a passion to go back. And I was lucky enough to get that old house for all my activity, whatever I want to do. That freedom I have. Many people don't even have that freedom, because even if you have an old house, somebody will be staying there, and it is not, you cannot do modifications as you wish unless you own it. And I'm sure most of the traditional homes with the land around, owning it, I cannot even own my own home now with my earnings. I am not that rich. But my siblings were kind enough to give me the full freedom, whatever I want to do there. Right? So it's a different aspects which gets to your life to make your passion life. I remember last when we met in Nanam, I was sitting on the cot outside, and then somebody was interviewing me, somebody was talking to me from different places, and you came during the lunchtime and left very fast, right? Yeah, I was thinking that you are going to be there, so I took it for granted, and then I left without carrying you, because that person is going to leave very fast. He came for a 10 minutes, but he has spent some 2 hours. Right. So see that liberty when you are there, what you get, your own. That is the hermitage concept which I had. Before owning the place, probably 10 years back, I wrote that I want to have a hermitage like that. And it happened. So it happened. It is not sure, no. One or two people objects in the siblings saying that no, I will not permit you to do what you want. We will not allow you. We want to partition. Then that would have cut into pieces. I was lucky that everybody permitted and I could own it as my own and then built in my style.
Okay.
Yeah. So that is one passion which I had. Yeah. Yeah, which is the line which you wanted to read?
I like the whole poem.
Hmm.
You ask me some particular line, then I say this one. I wish I restore my wealth of earning. Good, great. I find this poem very candid in nature because how to express that? I don't know, but I really like this poem.
Now, this is what I wrote now. All in vain, only little I could supply. Foolish man dug in wrong grounds. People invest a lot of money in lot of effort. That could be in anything. See, you have, when I write, I have one concept, but when write poetry, it should be generalized. So that until I come to the hermitage, people think it is investing time on somebody, investing time on business, investing time on some subject. It can be anything. All in vain, only little I could supply. Right? Foolish man dug in wrong grounds. Little depth in many places around. See, I wish many years I was thinking that going around and giving lectures, becoming famous is something great, which I invested a lot of time on that. But then I realized you don't require to do all that. You get one or two good students who will follow you thoroughly, that's good enough. Otherwise, you are digging in different places 1 feet to 1 feet. You cannot get water. You will have to dig it. See, some people, I also was once upon a time thinking that I have 1,000 people in front of me, I am great. But I know that not even one will love to sit in front of you actually. They only sitting because of many reasons. As you go to a college for giving lecture, there are 3,000 children. When I was a professor there, all the 3,000 will come and sit in front of me. Because if they sit there, you get 3 attendance. For 1 hour if you sit, you get 3 attendance. You can make people to sit in front of you. That doesn't give you any credential because they are not contributing anything to you. You are not contributing anything to them. It's all vain. They just hear. During that time they will say, or maybe they will type in saying a chat that your lecture is wonderful, very good. But if you ask them one sentence from that, they don't even remember that. So what is the fun in wasting your time? So that is what I meant by you could dig in many places 1 feet to 1 feet. Start distributing, talking to thousands of people. It makes no sense. We know only Ramakrishna had one student, Vivekananda. We don't even know any other students, right?
Yeah.
So that's enough. One Vivekananda is enough in your life. So one student is enough. Why do you want so many people? So but we don't know who are there. So what is that we do? Yesterday I had a lecture in Delhi, NSS, so I must have got 200 people, another 200 people they will go. So once I will contact them. Second time when they contact only, I will add them I will give another tag to them actually. Based on the tag only, I will send a message. Otherwise, I will not send a message. So I grade them at a different level. Unless they store my number, the first time I will send them directly. Second time, unless they store my number, they will not get a message from me. Because I only broadcast. Got it? So, all that experience what I had, which added up into this passion. That's what I did. Namaste, Narayanangutti. Yeah, that Shinu had some comment or some questions, but I picked it up later. I have not seen the chat. While talking, I am not seeing the chat. You gave a lot of comments and you had some suggestions. One of the thing was the Tantram, Vedic. Uh, what Vedic system we had is simplified for temple rituals is called Tantram. So Anushtanam remains same. Acharam could be different. That is what the whole lecture was. So Anushtanam comes from the Vedic part. Ritual comes from the Tantra Shastra. Eh?
I'm doing a Vedic ritual Agnihotra daily.
Yeah, you may be doing it, but Tantra Shastram as per Kerala is the temple rituals which are derived from the Vedic part. Agnihotra is a Vedic ritual, not a Tantric.
But I know.
Yeah. So, what else, Narayan Gutti? Asha left.
No, sir, I'm here.
Yeah, you could read in case.
Okay, sir. Another one that got my attention is paperboard void.
Yeah.
Paperboard flowed me on to 134, 68 poem, 134 page.
Yeah. Yeah, paper boat is also like probably what makes you want to ground is that feel of playing what you played during your childhood. So that's actually recalling our basic style of life in which we had lived through in the childhood.
The previous poem also. Fearless schoolboy.
Yeah, which I was generally. I think the new education policy will make children fearless. Today, education itself is a fearful task for many people because of the horrible experiences many people have during the everything. Examination is fearful, meeting teachers is fearful. I think many, except the brilliant few students who don't have courage even to meet their own teachers.
Yeah, sir. Then one more thing, I have always felt that, I don't know, but it's true in most people's cases. I think school is the one situation where you are actually encountering the light for the first time. You're actually knowing how to handle your life for the first time.
Yeah, when we learn psychology, we have the concept of the babyhood, then early childhood, then going to childhood. When you are a baby and early childhood, you get everything what you want, because you get supplied with all the blessings, all the people whom they love you, they give you everything what you want. School life is where you learn how to share, how to miss, how to argue, how to catch, how to scratch. Everything comes there. So that is where you learn how to fight for your survival.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that is where you require a real mentor. That is where you really require a person who guide you through. That doesn't have. Right. Kalyani had some question which was a continuation of Sthula, Sukshma, Karana, Sharira. I think we made it very clear that the gross body, the physical body, Kalyani is hearing, right? Kalyani is seen around.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yes. So, your basic question was whether the Sthula Shariram or Sukshma Shariram or Karana Shariram, which creates a reason for your rebirth or what carries your life forward. Though they are categorized different, it is like how do you get your buttermilk and the churn it for getting from the curd. When in the curd form, you cannot distinguish what is buttermilk and what is butter. When you churn it, butter goes separate and then buttermilk goes separate. So life is like that. When we say Sthula, Sukshma, Karana, Shariram, we don't have to find it entirely different. It is one and the same. Only for theoretical learning probably we do that. Otherwise, Sharira Manaso Yoga Paraspara Manuvrajeta Adhara Adheya Bhavena Taptajya Kadayoriva. The body and the mind is such related, it doesn't find any difference. That is what we have to understand. When we have a headache, head is a physical part of the body, but headache is not a physical part. Ache is always for the feeling. So when we say headache, is it for the body or for the manas? When we have pain, we generally say I have pain, but the pain is a feeling. But when somebody is scratching or pitching or beating here, the pain is at this place, not in the heart or in the brain. Where somebody is beating, where the pain is there only. But still we say the pain is a feeling which is in my heart. But what happens sometimes, if I am beaten up by my enemy, probably the pain is entirely different from getting a beating from my close friend. When I get a beating from my close friend, probably I will hit him back. When the pain comes from a very close relative where I never expected, then that becomes an anger or that becomes a misery, that becomes a real pain inside you. That will not happen when I have got a headache. I don't feel anger, I have suffering. So pain itself reflects from the body to your manas or to the buddhi. Anger is from the buddhi, because we know whether to get angry with him or to run away from that place, because my buddhi will tell you whether I have to hit him back or escape from that place. That's a buddhi. Though I have an emotional attachment to react to the situation, but I will not react because my buddhi will advise me don't react now. Reacting will become more pathetic. But if the suffering is only when I have got somebody very close to me, or maybe I can rely on somebody else and tell my pain, that time when I have a grief inside which suffocates me, that becomes a suffering which I cannot show. So suffering is something which you press yourself not to show to somebody. But then I can, maybe my closest person who is close to me, I will sleep on their lap and cry. I will show my suffering. But to somebody who is very close to me, only I will do that, not to somebody who is not close to me. So these are all aspects of Sukshma Sharira, for which there is a Karana. The reasoning is there. So how do you relate Sukshma, Karana, Sharira separate. It's all one and the same. But only for theoretical learning, like a biologist do a splitting up of the flower and learn part by part. You cannot look at what, for a biologist there is no flower, they have only spare parts of the flower. But we as a whole, when we look at it, we know this is what flower is, and we will start enjoying the beauty. Life is like that. Life is both Shariram, Manas, Karanam, etc. That is what we explained. The Sthula, Sukshma, Karana, Sharira is like that. But then there is an Avasthantaram. Avasthantaram is whether we are Jagrat, Supnam or Sushupti. In the Jagrat Avastha only we know that different Sukshma, Sthula and all is visible. In Supnam, the Shariram itself is gone. But your Sukshma Karana will remain. But then, in the deep sleep, Sushupti, everything is gone. You have only the biological sustenance. You are only breath, digestion. Two things only will happen. Even if you are in deep sleep, Sushupti, after a good meal, if you go to Sushupti, not that it will not digest, it will also digest, right? So that means the digestion process, the Sharira Pravarti happens. So this is how you have to understand. The Shariram also works in the Sushupti level, but the Manas and Buddhi will not work. Indriyas are shut. Karana is lost. Sukshma is lost. But Sthulam is working. That is why it is called Sthulam. In the root level, Sthula Shariram works. Whether you are in coma until you get into full stop, Sthula Shariram will work. Okay. So I think this explains. Yeah. If you have any question further on this, probably we could, because there is no end. It's a huge topic. We could debate and discuss and understand this at a different level. Any number of hours. Yeah.
But sir, in Susupti, even if the mind and body are not there, it's but I think the consciousness still moves. So that is how we experienced that I slept well last night. So that is, I think.
No, consciousness have nothing to do with the manas. Consciousness is in the cell. Each cell by cell, every cell has got a consciousness. Every matter in the world has got a consciousness. Every small cell which is in the table also has got a cell. The wood cell which is pressed in some fashion, there is a cell. It also has a consciousness. But that consciousness is what it binds to become a... See, every atom is binded in a different style as a compound, and that compound is what we call as material. So that has got a consciousness. But our consciousness with all the cell consciousnesses added together in the agglomeration of this constituent body has got a different consciousness. That consciousness is what we call it as the Buddhi, Manas, Atmiyata, etc. etc. So that spirit and spirituality is not there in every cell, but it is there for all the overall cell. That is what we call it as prana.
But,
So,
but sir, how do we know that I slept well last night? Who gave me the experience?
see, that is
In the mind.
that is the Buddhi which gives actually. See, a small child wakes up. We also wake up. Right? When a small child wakes up, it is pleasant and bright. The same person, when they grow up, you are not very happy in sleeping. It is not enough for you. You don't run as soon as you wake up. You again wanted to be there. So if it would have been consciousness which tells you, there is no difference in consciousness of each cell in your childhood and today. What is changing is your buddhi, the basic character, the feelings. So that keeps changing. The behavior pattern keeps changing. So whether you are in Jagrat or Supna, the real Supna happens only when you are disturbed with the surroundings. The buddhi, manas conflicts. Assume your buddhi, manas have no much conflicts, and there is Atma prevailing in you for controlling. Then you will not have to have too much of sleep. Very less sleep is good enough. And you will have a peaceful Jagrat Avastha straight away. From Jagrat you will go to Sushupti. Swapna will not be there. Swapna is a disturbed sleep actually, because you are not into deep sleep. That is why a meditative sleep is much better and a shorter, where you can meditate from the Jagrat Avastha, actually fly inside to the Sushupti straight without the Swapna. Swapnam is a disturbed state where you are not enjoying. That is why you are saying you did not have a good sleep. So consciousness is not actually interacting with the outward world. Outward world interaction is through Indriya, and that Indriya has got a consciousness, but that is controlled by the Manas, the software. So actually Swapnam is like a software bug, which in sleep mode, we say in sleep mode in the computer. Actually it is not shut down, but it is not working also. So the shutdown is what is called the Sushupti. Jagrat is when the computer is active. The sleep mode in the computer is what we call it as Swapna Avastha, which is actually wasting your energy but doing nothing. So Swapna Avastha, what will happen? You are not doing anything and you are neither sleeping. So you are wasting your energy. So you are aware, but you are not aware. But consciousness is not that. Consciousness is you are aware. There is no not aware possibility. Unconscious state is where you are there and you are in a sedation sort of a style. That is what is Swapna. That is not actually a good, you should have a good sleep without any, it's actually Sushupti is the best one. Not that Swapna Avastha. But assume you can control. I love to have dream because I can control my dreams. I can see what I wanted to see today as my dream, then I can think about it and then sleep. Then
How do you define dream?
Dream is actually an unsatisfied desire which comes natural to you. But there are possibilities of getting into dream where you wanted to, which is provided sometime by the Atma, sometime by the Buddhi, sometime by the Manas. But that is too short sometime. There can be hundreds and thousands of small short movies in a dream, which not run in the normal speed, it could run very fast. And Indriyas is what controls you, and while sleeping what happens is Indriyas are closed. Therefore the Atma starts interacting with the Buddhi and it will bring out some gadgets or images from the Buddhi and start connecting without actually having any sense. That is why probably you can see Dr. TPS face connected to a giraffe tomorrow sometime in your dream. And you can see me placed not in here, somewhere else. Because somewhere I would have told, I love to take a pradakshina around Parliament House. You may see like me a dog running around the Parliament House in your dream. That is possible. Because you connect unwanted things in your dream, which is not at all realistic. So dream is an unrealistic connection of different images, which is sometimes fun, which you may remember, you may not remember. But there are very good technique for writing dreams, bringing up dreams, recording dreams, all that is possible. I had great passion to understand dreams, and I did a lot of studies on that. Therefore, even in daytime you can be, it is not daydream what like people say that what you planning is what is called a daydream. That is not what I am saying. But in a conscious state, you can control your manas and buddhi in such a fashion. Generally, manas runs faster and the body runs slow. Because before I go to my rooftop, my manas would have gone to rooftop, and then I am following my manas. That is how my body takes me there. Because manas goes there first. That's my intention goes first. But you can have a style of life where sometime you can control your body and manas in such a fashion your body goes first and manas would not have gone. Or you can send your manas where you don't even reach in your body. That's called Paragaya Pravesham. That Shankaracharya and all had such abilities. It's a beautiful concept to understand it to them separate. But for a common person, it are not different. It's all one and the same. Yeah.
So can the dream can be positive also?
That is what I said. It can be positive, it can be negative. We do psychological analysis based on the dreams. Assume you describe the dream, then we can say what sort of character he is sometime. Not every time it is possible. Some people have got the dream that they can fly. So there is some relationship between what you see and what is your ambition in life. What is the state of mind now you are going through? What is the trouble? Because you are not able to sleep well because of various thoughts. From that, you are not able to tell what is the thought which is troubling you, but you can tell your dream. From there, we can interpret your trouble. That is used in psychology. That is used in hypnosis. The hypnosis actually we create dreams. Forcefully creating dream and then we are reading. That is what we do during hypnosis.
Have created a dream.
I could not get the question.
Sir created regarding dreams. So what do you want to say about that? The people believe that if you see dreams during like in the morning,
See,
when you get up, these dreams.
just before you sleep into Jagrat, definitely you have dreams. Unless you are a meditative sleeper. But you may not remember them because after that you go on to a Sushupti. Early morning what happens is, during the Brahma Muhurtam you are disturbed. Actually your sleep is over. You are pretending that you are sleeping. That is called Tushni Bhava. So when you are in Tushni Bhava, you keep listening to something. You understand your own inner consciousness and that slip away happens. Therefore, when you wake up, you remember them. Otherwise, you have dreams many. So it is not that early morning, and out of many things which happened, many dreams, there may be series of things which you have seen. When that happens in your life, you remember, oh, this I have had in my dream. So you are relating to what happened in your life to the dream. It is the other way. Yeah.
Sir, can I?
Yeah. Sure.
Sir, can I ask you something? Sir, like you said in the previous session, dreams can be intuitive also, right?
Yes, it can be intuitive. That's what I'm saying. Naturally, which comes to you can be intuitive.
And one more thing is that it's not necessary that you should remember all the dreams that you see.
That is what just now I said. You need not. And what you see in the before slipping from your Jagrat to Sushupti, the dream which you had, as soon as go to bed, you will not even remember. Most of the people don't remember. They remember only that which is in the early morning, because you are slipping to the Jagrat Avastha. From the reverse happens. From Sushupti you go to dream state and then go to Sopnam and then go to Jagrat. Then you will remember. That's it. Question here: why Guru Srinarayana tell people to wear yellow dresses? Srinarayana Guru is one of, if other people from outside Kerala don't know who is Srinarayana Guru, he was a great poet of Kerala. That is how I wanted to call it. But he happens to be motivated by one person who was very close to Vivekananda to start a upliftment of the socially downtrodden people belongs to his caste, that is OBC. Therefore he is more famous as a social reformer. Otherwise he is one of the greatest poets of Kerala who could write in 3 languages: Sanskritam, Tamil and Malayalam. The beauty of his poetries are, when he writes Malayalam, he don't add any Sanskrit or Tamil, and when he writes in Sanskrit, he don't mix it with any other language. So he was a pure Atmiya Purusha. But his contributions and popularity in Kerala is social reform. And today, I think it is his Chadayam day, right? Today or yesterday or today, I think. I don't know. So one of the best de-infectant, de-bacterial purification is done through manjal. What is manjal? Haldi. So correct, no, Asha?
Correct.
Yeah. So traditionally people were wearing white clothes. So Srinarayana Guru asked everybody to dip that in yellow powder, mix in water and color it yellow and then wear it. That was for, one is to safeguard from many. He was also a very good biologist. He was also a good Ayurvedic specialist. He could treat people. Srinarayana Guru was a Vaidya by himself. So he knew that it is better for people to wear, because traditionally people don't even wash their clothes every day. I don't even remember in my childhood we never changed clothes every day. So better to, and we were sleeping on the floor. It is not that sophisticated life we had. We had a life which was close to earth and mud. So better to, one of the best method to de-infect or maybe take care of the bacterial infections and safeguard yourself, the easiest one is to put, that is why haldi is very good. Every curry we add haldi. If at all there is some poison, if you have got a severe stomach problem, add a little haldi powder in your buttermilk and then drink. That's enough. That's what our medicines in our childhood. Or most of the diseases which we had in our childhood were treated with shortcuts like this. So that later became a yellow color for everybody. That has become his flag color. People started wearing it. Otherwise, he asked everybody to dip it in the haldi powder, mix water and then wear it. That is what traditionally many people did. The Teyyam, probably Krishna also had yellow. But Srinarayana Guru happened to be a Shiva Bhakta than a Krishna Bhakta. I translated, I think, one of Srinarayana Guru's poetries into Malayalam from, or English, I think Malayalam to English or something.
Sir, in Odisha, we were, it is related to the planet Brihaspati.
Yeah.
Like you said that if your Brihaspati is something wrong, so you wear yellow clothes.
That is all stupid anyway. Just because you wear a yellow cloth, that planet is not going to influence you and all that. The biggest stupidity in Bharatiya Shastram is we start mixing many things, and then these are all popularized by, I think, magazines. It is not in any of the Vedic knowledge. Going to temple on Saturday for Saturn problems. We have not declared holidays for Bhagavan. saying Monday is for this god, Tuesday is for this god, Friday for Devi. Rest of the days she can be off because she has got duty on other part of the planetary system or what. But Haldi is supposed to be actually in Andhra and Karnataka, Tamil Nadu and all, when they give invitation, wedding invitation, they put a little, yeah, that is because de-infecting again. Today we are using our de-infectant. That was once upon a time when virus was not there also, we did this. Correct.
Hand sanitizer.
Yeah, it's like a sanitizer. And every ladies used to have full of, their face used to be yellowish, their hands used to be yellowish. Vicco turmeric was famous because of that only. Sandalwood paste, these are the two paste which we use. Sandalwood paste and turmeric. So both the sandalwood and turmeric added together was Vicco turmeric. They advertised like that also in childhood. They used to see every cinema theatre we should have only that Vicco turmeric and turmeric and then sandalwood. So these two are the paste which is used in any temple also. Right. In every puja, whether you do a puja or do a Shraddha karma, without turmeric you cannot do.
The same is true with Odisha also. That they used to use turmeric for every puja.
Every
and,
puja.
When the child also born, they used to put lot of haldi and start it. So that.
It's like a debacterial. It is basically that. Manjal.
Thank you. Right.
Yeah.
I have few questions.
Yeah.
So tell me something. What is life?
What is life is a big question. No. What is life? Life is an accident. We can look at it from different angle. Each perspective you get a different definition. Life is just a mistake. Life is an angle.
Sir, when I ask life for you.
Life for me is enjoyment, celebration. Every moment, create moments. Now you live for somebody else. You get into a stage where you think that you can contribute to somebody else. No. Create moments in somebody's life. If I can make ena kena prakarena yasya kasyabi dehinaha sandosham janayat pratna tadaivam Ishwara pujanam. That Ishwara pujanam is life. So if I am of use to somebody else, then I say, oh, I lived my life. See, that not necessarily on lectures, philosophy and all that. If you look at what I have done today is a great day for me. Because I had university meetings. I'm a faculty in a university now. No? I'm a mathematics professor in a university. So we had meetings. We had a class. I learned a little bit. I contributed a little bit. There was some business consultancy with somebody wanted to start something great. It's a big dream. If it happens, it could be a $1 trillion business. But I am connecting people, helping somebody to connect from maybe 5 different countries are getting connected to each other. So that is a strategic activity which probably business consultancy which I do. And immediately I jump to something else. So this keeps happening. Right. So every day we have got a credit and a debit in everybody's life. So if you have more credit and less debit, we invest. What is our life account? I keep saying. Now Dr. Jayanti asked a question. When I am answering, what am I doing? Actually I am opening a account with you which I am putting lot of credit. Then some point of time, when if not me, with my reference somebody can come to you and then take some loan. Got it? So that is our balance in our life. So life is to create lot of credit and debit and use that for giving some credit account for somebody else. We keep, that is how we keep rolling the investment in life. So that's why I keep saying life is a great investment. Every moment is invested for something or other. That if you invest for learning, probably yes, you can draw back from that. That's our new education policy is also talking about credit system, right? So that is the credit. What I have learned from my guru is what is my credit. Now I am able to give to different people like reinvestment. So I am investing in different places. So that somebody may keep growing. So when you invest in the right place, it keeps growing. When you invest in the wrong place, it will become a loss. That also can happen. Somebody may steal also from you. Right? That also can happen. Somebody can listen to your lecture and then copy it, and with nothing wrong in copying with the right thing. But copy wrongly, it becomes then say I learned from him. So that becomes you referring to you becomes a big mistakes and blame for you. Suppose if I stand some sloka and make a mistake and they say I am a disciple of KPC, then actually it's a wrong thing. I am actually defaming him. Right? So that is why a relationship has to be understood mutually. Refer me only when I agree that you can refer me. Otherwise we are not supposed to refer anybody. That is why a disciple need to get a blessing from the guru. Then only we should refer him. Otherwise don't even copy from him. That's why we say that the credibility, we get a credit. So life is to have somebody where you can invest. Then I can say I invested on them. So it's a transfer of wisdom, transfer of knowledge. For some people it can be transfer of money. For some people it can be transfer of fame. See, for example, you are a politician. They are not worried about money or knowledge. They are only worried about contacts, connections, fame. So there are only 3 things which everybody wants in life. You have to categorize what you want. One is knowledge. Vedantago Brahmanaha. If you are aiming for knowledge, you are a Vedanti. Assume that you are aiming for power, position, popularity and all that. Then you are a Kshatriya. There can be a combination of Kshatriya and Brahman together. And then you can be a Vaishya. Vedantago Brahmana Hasyat Kshatriyo Vijayi Bhavet Vaishyo Dhana Samruddha Shudra Sughamapniyat. So that is the actual practical life which is explained in the Vishnu Sahasranamam Dhyana Sloka. So this is not anything new. For everybody in this world, life is always learn, earn, fame. All the 3 together. So if you are looking at learning or earning and fame, but it can be a combination of all this. What do you get from all these 3? You get happiness. So what is life for everybody? It is happiness. Just happiness without learning, without earning, without fame is actually foolishness. So I am trying to balance all these together. That trial will happen, may not be successful. That's why I am saying it is trial. I am trying. Sometime we will run around money. Sometime we will run around fame. Sometime we will run around knowledge. But a stage will come, we realize it, we start balancing this. That balancing is what is actually life. Or anybody, that is life. When you reach to a balancing level, enough. But sometime we have to go for popular lectures. What for? It's actually fame. Because you don't know, somebody will come to behind you, so that you can invest in him, teach him, make him to learn. Somebody we will find somewhere, he may make you money out of you. You may get a benefit, you may not get a benefit. That doesn't matter. But I am sure when you give it, there will be somebody giving you back. Because the whole system is such. Naturally it is all connected. So it will come back to you. So we have to invest some time for learning, sometime earning, sometime for fame. Because when you have fame, when you have position, when you have power, definitely people will give attention to them. So otherwise people may not listen to you. Therefore it is essential. That's why we allow people to read the biodata, all that before the lecture. So that, oh, this man is, otherwise the people may not attend, So that is essential sometime to get attraction. Because when you get attracted, one or two may come back to you. So that is natural. That will happen normally, it happens to you.
Thank you.
Sir, I have got a question for you.
Yeah.
Sir, what is this Pavitra Ketta or sacred thread in English?
See,
I think
Payyannur, we have got a tradition where they make a beautiful ring for you, which is called the Pavitra Ketta. Today, that is what when you probably Google, you will reach Pavitra Ketta from there. Actually, Pavitra Ketta is, the Pavitram is what is done during the rituals. You have seen the priest puts a darbha, a grass which is tied in a very specific fashion, which becomes a symbol for him to become an authority to do puja. So they just put it on the ring finger, they tie it in a very specific style. Okay, so the normal tying only, but after one tie, generally second tie also we put in the same style, reverse it and put it, that becomes Pavitra Ketta. So it will become like this. Okay, so that is what is put in the ring.
looks like infinite.
Yeah, that is like an infinite or maybe a snake winding style. That is what is used by people to generally have this for eligibility to become a person who can conduct a puja. Okay, so this you have to wear it, and after that sometime you have to remove it after the, because Pavitra Ketta with the darbha you cannot keep it totally. So I also had a Pavitra Modira. Payyannur, there is a very specific goldsmith who created this as a permanent tie with a gold. So that Pavitra Modiram is what is called Pavitra Modiram. Yeah, the Pavitra Modiram is, that Modiram means ring. So Pavitra ring can be used there so that you become eligible. I was using it permanently, I had it. So Pavitra Ketta is the darbha which is tied in a very specific fashion. While wearing it, you become eligible for doing any tantric or ritualistic activity like Shraddha Karmam. Shraddha Karmam also people use that Pavitra Ketta. That's it. So actually the darbha has a very specific ability to, that sharpness, the edge has got a very specific ability to attract electromagnetic energy. Like you have got the electrical on the top of the building, you put that lightning safeguarding mechanism.
Lightning arrestor.
Yeah, lightning arrest, not actually it is not arrestor, it absorbs and then earthen it. That safeguards your house, right? So that sharpness is what has got for the coconut leaf. If you look at every leaf has got a sharp edge. That is why when you have got lightning and thunder, definitely the coconut tree gets affected most of the time. So that miniature is what you will see in the darbha. So while doing puja, either to attract energy or to repel energy, it's a good conductor. It knows how to, because there is a basic science principle that potential energy always goes into the edges. A sharp edge is always more electrically potential than a flat edge. So these are all the basic, probably these could be the basic thing which is made, we can only say probably, right? Yeah. And those are highly medicinal. Today the darbha which is used for tying this is a good preventer for most of the diseases. That powder is powdered and distributed and used milkshakes, ice creams, all that in being sold for 400 rupees for one ice cream. A organic immunizer for your body. It's available Amazon also, you can see the. So that has got a medicinal value, that has got an electric potential value, that has got a ritualistic most of our ritualistic aspects which we have in Hinduism had a medicinal and energy giving concepts.
Sir, one more question. You said that people have to be happy but should not be satisfied in their life.
Yeah.
How can a person be unsatisfied?
See, I am happy that somebody is asking me questions.
Okay.
But the quality of the question will decide whether I am satisfied or not. I am happy that there are 6 people now attending this. But I am not satisfied, because the same effort, if I can take the same message to 60 people, that will be great. I am happy that Asha, Narayan and Kuti are attending, Chandru is attending. But I am not satisfied because they are not making their friends to attend this. You understood? So there is a difference between happiness and satisfaction. Assume you are happy, definitely what will happen when you are happy, you continue doing this. But then when there is a satsang now happening which is attended by very number of people. Now I am so happy that Dr. Jagadish Kumar is attending my class, because he is a great professor who by accident in some group we are there. I don't post anything which is not related to that group in that. If I am not related to that, I will not post. There is a Maya satsang you can attend, I will not advertise. I am very disciplined in such groups. Okay, but if first time, probably some people very close to that who attended my seminar during my webinar of agriculture, I will post once and see whether somebody is liking it or not. Whether they attend it, then what do? I will continue and tag to them. Got it?
Yeah.
So there is an effort which I am doing, but if somebody is not taking that effort, probably we will become little not that encouraging. That encouragement what you get is what sustains us to do that. That is development. That is what we want in our life. Assume that I am teaching only KG. Every year I am teaching KG. I am happy, but I am not progressing. No?
Yeah.
Because same syllabus, same class. 30 years, same syllabus, same class, same subject, same topic. What is that you are doing? You are repeating the same thing. There is no creativity. There is no innovation. You are not making some difference. Suppose if I get the same question at 10 different places, I get the same question. Do I feel happy? I am not happy also. Because the audience is not improving.
Okay.
So that is where I in the other poetry also I was telling, no, I am digging in one place, 1 feet only. I am not able to get, I am not investing on somebody else. It's like a person who is, there can be such people who are interested. I keep comparing with an auto rickshaw driver and a lorry driver. Auto rickshaw driver carries only 2-3 passengers and then goes around 120 kilometer around, not beyond that. That is an immediate benefit. He gets 5 rupees, 10 rupees, 20 rupees, 30 rupees, some benefit he gets. He is happy with that, right? And he caters to many people. But a truck driver is someone who carries tons of luggage. He goes from one place and then reaches very far, for which you need a lot of patience. But that experience is entirely different. So each individual has got a different experience in their life. Some people love to have this as their experience. Some people have something else's experience. So your happiness depends on what you do and what is your passion. Okay.
Okay.
For
So
some.
then one more question. One more question. How did you meet your guru? Swami Vedabharati?
That's a very long story, but I will make it very short. I had interest in most of the healing practices which I had. So I had many satsangs. Probably 20 years back, I had more audience than now. There are only 8 people. When I create a satsang in my house or neighbor's house, I used to have 20-30 people physically present. That can be Reiki, pranic healing, esoteric healing, many practices. I used to get a lot of such activities. That grown up into a club, officers club in military area. Hyderabad is a military area. So I have gone to such clubs, ladies club or maybe evening club or recreation club. There used to be a lot of lectures of mine. So many people know that I am a scientist and I have got interest in these meditation, yoga, healing practices, variety of things, So when some senior officer went in on transfer to Delhi, they had a defense secretary, Veena Maitra, Dr. Veena Maitra. She happens to be an IAS, very, very senior. Defense estate is probably the largest revenue controlling department under defense, because the land is what is in her control. So she was secretary to that. Somebody told that there is a scientist like this because she was closely associated with the Swami Rama Ashram, Himalayan tradition, master's tradition. So they said that there is a person like this. So Veena did not see me. One day she called me and then we had a dialogue. Then she said, whenever you come to Delhi, meet me and all that. But I did not take it very serious. But I met her. Though I met her, I gave her my email address. She started communicating with me and with her guru. That time it was Swami Vedabharati. Swami Rama was no more. The Himalayan Master's book, Living with Himalayan Master. That's his, like one of the best book. Swami Rama, if you don't know, he is Shankaracharya once upon a time and left in 1970s. Only one person who must have left that cadre of Shankaracharya to start his own ashram. Otherwise, they take it as the highest prestigious position. They don't leave it once they reach there. But Swami Rama was a meditator. He said, I don't want to be an administrator in Shankaravatta. Instead of that, I like to meditate. So he came out. Because when you go to ashrams and become the chief of it, you do more administration than meditation. Okay? Because you have to control manpower, you have to control finance, you have to beg for construction, all that will happen. So he don't want to all that. He wanted his own mutt, and then he was a master of meditation in Himalayan style. He traveled, only silence is what is taught in Himalayan meditation, nothing else. No yoga, no physical body, monkeys, action and all not there. So Swami Vedabharati was his disciple. Veena Maitra connected me to Swami Vedabharati. And I left Department of Space for Kerala posting, and that time I lost all my internet connection because Kerala was not that well connected to university, was not in connection. I was in Space Department, that was like a heaven, and Calicut University was like a hell. Everything was lost. But then I went to Delhi for a program. In a newspaper I saw Swami Vedabharati is talking in India International Center, arranged by Dalai Lama group of people. Then immediately I was in a class, actually I was studying, I was a student. Being a director, I went to study in a Jawaharlal Nehru University Consortium for Educational Communication, multimedia classes, how to make films of movies of your classes and all that. That's still I am using it in my life. So when I went there, I saw this advertisement class. The session was starting at 5 o'clock or so. I being in Delhi, I was not having my own transport. I have to take a public transport. If it was Department of Space, I could have got some departmental vehicle by official capacity. Being in university, I did not even had that ability. But then I don't want even to skip my class because we have been working not to 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock. We have assignments we have to complete. May have to stay back in the lab up to 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock and all that. That was how the training was happening because everything was new. Producing movies was what I was learning. So mixing video, audio, all that was new to me. Then what I did was I told slowly because I was excellent. I did my job very fast. I finished. We had to do it in a team. So most of them were juniors. I was the senior most. So I used to assign some job to some my colleagues and then tell them you take care, and then we had an adjustment. So I told this instructor that I have a lecture like this, I have to go. So immediately he asked me, do you have an invitation? I said, I don't have an invitation. So without invitation, you will not be able to go there. But then let us try. I also is a fan of such lectures. I will drive you, he said. So we two and some other senior professors, some three of us, I think, I vaguely remember. So three of us went there, who had a car. So right time we could reach there. But there was no hitch. Immediately we could go there, but the hall was full, 400 people. So I was probably the last person to enter there. I got a last seat. And I don't remember what was the lecture topic and all that, because Swami Vedabharati believes in silence. 400 people he spoke without a mic, without a public addressing system, without an amplifier. He says, if I raise my voice, your hearing ability will come down. If I speak slowly, you will tune your ear for my class. Therefore, I wanted to talk to you only in silence. That is how he started the lecture, and I actually went into deep sleep. I don't even remember what he spoke, even today. But the lecture was 2 hours. I don't even know how 2 hours went, what I learned, but I learned many things. That much I know. But that is not in the physical sense of mind, not in my brain, not in my manas. It would have gone into my atma, because that was a total surrender for me. Because through emails, all that we know each other. And I was suggesting to do a conference to him by email, but I am sure he may not even know me, because I know him because somewhere you search, you know his picture, some books, advertisement, some paper. But Dr. TPS is never in his mind, because it's not like today's internet, you can type in and then get the profile of everybody, right? This was in 2005, 15 years back. But then soon after the lecture was over, he took the public addressing system and said, Dr. TP Shashikumar can join me for a dinner today. He is there in the gathering. So it was a public invitation for me. So I was really stunned how he knows that I am here. I did not even tell Veena Maitra, not him. So he called me for a dinner, and we had a dinner meet, in which he also said there are another 3 people, and he had secretaries. He is like an international Swami. He said, my secretaries will contact you and you give the card. He don't even give his visiting card to everybody. He said, you don't even say visiting card. My business card can be collected from my secretaries. That's what he will say after the lecture. And he will leave the place. So immediately I followed him. We had a dinner meet. That meeting was my first time meeting him. I had my recorder. Always I keep my recorder. Even today I am recording my lecture. That day also I had a recorder. And he also had a recorder. So he was telling all our dialogues will be recorded, because I want to listen to what you speak. And then I was talking about some Indian heritage and such things. That was my interest on those days. All my chantings also he recorded. He said, you are a beautiful way of chanting. I liked it and all that. He used to pat me like that. That's how we interacted. But then again, I lost the connection, contacts and all that, because Calicut University again. I was back in that. But then I went to Delhi for a posting in the Prime Minister's office. I used to go and meet him at Rishikesh. He had Haridwar, Rishikesh was the place. In between he had an ashram. So that's a place I used to go and spend the time. Whenever he wanted me, he used to call me. I used to go to him. We conducted a conference called Meditation and Pain Management. 400 people attended. Out of 200 were meditators, 200 were doctors. Without anesthesia, people can be given surgery if you are a real meditator. Because meditation is you are not conscious about your body. So can you do a nasal surgery by a surgeon? When you say that, yeah, I am meditating, you do surgery. That is what he used to challenge. So we had measurements like biofeedback. We have measurements using electroencephalograph to see whether you are really meditating. I was put under electroencephalograph to ask me questions, and then whether the way I am giving answers, whether my brain is used or not. I found that I am not using my brain while answering my questions. Probably I will read something, but I am not talking from the buddhi. So if the buddhi is used, electroencephalograph will have vibrations. All such equipments he had in that ashram we have actually. That ashram is also mine because he is no more. I am his first disciple. So I can always go there and stay there and become a teacher. So I am a meditation master by court. I can go there. I have got that freedom. Now today, some of our colleagues who are all learners together under him are the masters there. So that's a beautiful ashram where only one thing is taught, that is silence. Through silence, you have to slip yourself to meditation. Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi. Up to Dhyanam, we can take. I can lead to Dhyanam. That Dhyanam can be your Guru. That when I reached there, actually in Dhyanam only, I reached him actually. Then the meditative stage I learned. So that is where I was led to him. So that was a great, and I used to have a very close relation with him because people who were with him maybe years together may not got a chance to have a dinner with him, but I had chances to be with him for dinner. Such liberty he has given me, and then that was a beautiful actually understanding. And when he used to come to Chennai, I remember I have traveled from Kerala for a half an hour meet with him. I must have traveled 24 hours because it worth. I had an individual personal meeting when he was flying from somewhere. He had a short stay there, but that I utilized.
Sir, what did you both used to talk when you?
See, that can be anything. I don't even remember what do we talk. It could be Indian heritage, it could be his life, it could be understanding what is he, what is me. For everything when we say, he has got something to add. That is what it makes. If I ask him something, he adds something. That is what actually a guru is supposed to do. It can be his experience. So probably somebody who was with him for 20-30 years also don't know that this part is there with him. So I remember sometime he was telling, you never told me. He said, you never asked me like that. So a right question from a good disciple is what reveals to you from a guru. So I was blessed. I don't even remember. That is what sometimes it happens when you go to such places, you get into a trance. But you know that when you come out, you know many things which he told you.
Sir, actually, what is meant by this trance? Because some people
that state in which you lose your consciousness, and I told you in the sleep your time scale is different from the Jagrat time scale. Similarly, in the trance, time scale is entirely different from the Jagrat time scale. So your conversation can be entirely different. This is what I told when whether my guru, when I met him, KPC, he asked me, are you writing on this? How can he ask what is there in my mind when I have not even met him before? You understood? So that's a great, you don't have to discuss, you don't have to understand, you don't have to know, but that all is transferred from one to another one with the same frequency level, because knowledge is a frequency transfer. That frequency is there in a rhythm, then energy transfer, coherence will happen, harmony will happen. It all depends on which frequency you are mixing with the other frequency.